I'm going to go out on a limb here and call The Swordsman a new action classic. This movie, I didn't really know much about it. It's a Korean period piece drama action picture, I guess. It's basically based off of a historical tale, but we start our movie off with a group of people coming to depose the king because they don't like the decisions he's been making. And one lone swordsman, tries to take them on, ends up dueling the greatest swordsman currently in the country, and that didn't end well. So now we skip forward. He's got a daughter. He lives in the forest. He's almost blind because of the incident. And his daughter's trying to find a rare herb in order to fix his blindness. However, it doesn't come cheap. Meanwhile, there's a whole bunch of political stuff going on with the King dynasty. They have sent their envoys. They rule Joseon with an iron fist. They take prisoners as tributes, slaves, various, mostly women. And so our main character basically is just trying to live in this world. However, his daughter wants to see more of the world, and she gets involved, and she ends up getting kidnapped by the slave traffickers. So this movie definitely takes a lot of influence from other films. The ones that come to mind mostly are Ip Man, The Man from Nowhere, Taken, and I think there's one more in there, but I forgot. But even though the movie does have its influence, it's still a gritty, entertaining film in its own right. There's a lot of great political intrigue going on with the different characters. Our main character is a badass with a sword, but that's not like the only thing he's got going for him. He cares a lot for his daughter. It's pretty violent. It's a pretty no-nonsense sort of tough guy sort of story that we haven't seen in a long time. When was the last time you watched an action movie where a silent person went in and just absolutely destroyed everyone? I think the main star of this movie would be the camera work and the swordplay. Revenger. Revenger was the other movie that this is the best action pick with sword since Revenger. Oh crap, I forgot my train of thought. But basically, yeah, this movie is very reminiscent of like a Western, strong, silent type, simple plot, a little bit of stuff going on in between. But it's a movie that's no nonsense in its violence. It's really entertaining, and it's really well directed. You can see the sword fights. You can sort of, there's only one sword fight where they kind of don't really stay on the characters. It's where he's fighting a group, and they kind of just like cut away to the end of the fight. But the rest of the one-on-one fights are amazing. Really great stuff. You can see everything. It's well directed. I gotta give out a shout to Joe Taslim. Great villain role. He's very formidable physically and acting-wise. All the villains in this movie are actually pretty, formidable. And the movie also does a great job of showcasing their talents before the big fight. So, you don't just go up against the guy you've never fought before. You've seen him fight before. Even if the main character hasn't seen him fight before, the audience at least knows, what weapon he uses, what fighting style, his level of ability before they just start to, slice at each other. The movie's brutal, it's enjoyable, it's action-packed, but it also has an emotional core. So The Swordsman is a very strong film. I can only think of a few flaws. I guess I'll go into them just because I was going to give this film a really high rating, but I can't give it a perfect score. I guess the two biggest problems I had was that the opening sequence has a different actor playing a younger version of the character. I didn't know that, so I had trouble sort of putting that together. But also every time they do a flashback with that guy, it's not a very good flashback. And so the movie's weak flashbacks, I guess, is the only fault I could find with the movie. But everything else is pretty much good. I mean, it's a very well-rounded film. Once the blades start flying, it's pretty great. So I give The Swordsman a 9 out of 10.